I grew up in Ghana, in Accra, Ghana, and spent my formative years there. I don't remember being in the visual arts, so to speak. I was more practical in a lot of ways. As I got a little bit older, I went to school in Scotland, and it probably had to do with the political situation in Ghana, where you have coup d'etats and that sort of thing. So I was lucky enough to have parents who could at least have some foresight to send me away. So I think it was much later on, that I got into the arts. And I like to say that I came to the arts or graphic design through the back door, so to speak. I took a printmaking course, and later on a design course. It wasn't graphic design, but it was a design course, and I quite liked it, because it required thinking, and also it wasn't something you did by rote. It's almost as if you start thinking with another side of your brain, and who knows what you find there. Sometimes you find interesting things because of a perspective, right? A perspective that was never there. It's really giving me a sense of curiosity, which I think wouldn't be there otherwise. Being curious about things is very important to anyone who is interested in the creative act or activity. I didn't have any formal 4-year training in visual arts. I had more of an interest in literature and history and English and writing, and that later on would serve me well, because I found out that design really is very much about a process, which every writer goes through, because it is a road to discovery. So I went to New York essentially to get kicked around so I could learn about this thing called design. And luckily, I landed in a place called De Herrick and Poulin, and this is a studio run by Rudolph De Herrick, who's since passed on. He was a mentor to me, because in him I found someone who actually exemplified and embodied what design is. The idea you have to have is that it's not about how beautiful it is, it's more about how relevant the information is. Along the way, I introduced things like a linear element, which cuts right across, have these diagonals, For me also, this is very, very musical in a way, because when you think about it, you start with a red, and then there's some sense of rhythm. I remember when I was doing this, I was listening to jazz, Coltrane, and it's just amazing that every note that he made was readily understandable, but also quite ethereal. Along the sequence or process, you fail. And if you're astute enough, you learn from that failure as you go along. For me, failure is not just one big thing that happens in one moment. It happens along the way, and that's the reason why the process of design is very important to me. It's almost like things that fall in the cracks. Those are the things that I'm interested in, because that's where you find the true answers, or at least new and interesting ways of answering old questions.